The concrete truth is, you never really know a person until the lights go down and the echo starts talking back. That's the vibe Isaiah Falls lives in, the space between the club closing and the sunrise screaming. He's the sound of that aftermath, that private room where the real story unfolds. People call him the master of sultry R&B now, the voice you put on when you're done with the games and ready for something raw, something that sinks into the sheets or cruises quiet city streets at 4 in the morning. But the bedroom anthems and the late-night vibe tracks, that didn't just appear out of thin air. You gotta dig back to the Orlando, Florida heat, the street sounds that were his first lullabies. By the way, welcome to Celebrity Hip Hop Showroom, where hip-hop and celebrity drama never sleep, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss the mess. Let's get into it. He's a soul singer, no question, but the soul he sings about was first marinated in the heavy bass and complicated rhythms of hip-hop. He wasn't just listening to rap, he was dissecting it, figuring out how the greats moved the air and held the attention of a block, how they could tell a story in a 3-minute track that felt like a lifetime lived. And when he spoke to XXL, he didn't front. He didn't give the expected, polished answer. He gave the kind of straight talk that makes you lean in, because you know it's about to get real. The first domino that fell, the one that set the whole thing off, wasn't a singer at all. It was 50 Cent, and Isaiah says that with a conviction that tells you it's a non-negotiable fact. Get Rich or Die Tryin', that album right there, that was the blueprint for the melody he carries in his voice today. Think about it. Everyone remembers 50 for the swagger, the tough talk, the hooks that hit like a right cross. But Isaiah heard something deeper. He heard the singing in the rap. 50 wasn't just spitting bars, he was weaving those smooth melodies into the grit, making the hardest stories palatable, digestible, and stuck in your head forever. He was melodic, maybe one of the most melodic rappers out there at the time, and that rhythm, that unexpected smoothness tucked into the street narrative, that's what Isaiah Falls ran with, heavy. That became the backbone of his own sound, even as he transitioned into a vocalist. You gotta learn how to sneak the smooth into the rough edges if you wanna last, and 50 taught him that lesson early, before he even knew he needed it. But every great artist is a mashup of competing influences, a tug-of-war between styles, and for Isaiah, it quickly became a two-way street that led straight to the biggest names in the game. It's either Kodak Black or Kendrick Lamar, he'll tell you, no hesitation. Those two were heavy in his ear, in his mind, in his notebooks growing up. And even then, it wasn't a 50-50 split. He leans into Kodak, more so. Now, that might surprise some people who only know Isaiah for the smooth R&B, but you gotta listen to why. It wasn't just the words, it was the entire atmosphere, the soundscape. Kodak's beats, man, they were super intriguing, he says, the kind of production that gets under your skin and makes you move without even thinking about it. That feeling, that raw, undeniable groove, the 808s were always smacking, always hitting with a fire bounce. That's the street pulse, the energy that demands attention. And that's the stuff he took, the foundational thump, the rhythmic drive that pushes his R&B tracks, even the slow jams, forward. You can hear those elements in how he approaches his music now, that hip-hop backbone underneath the silk and velvet of the vocals. It's the sound of the club floor mixing with the after-hours contemplation. Then you got Kendrick, the other side of that coin, and that influence was a different beast altogether. With Kendrick, it was all about the flow, the sheer, technical mastery of the voice. Isaiah saw a rapper who wasn't just delivering lines. He was using his voice like an actual instrument, pushing it, stretching it, changing the texture and tone to tell the story in 1,000 different colors. Early in his career, Kendrick was out there, he was really pushing the boundaries of what a rapper could even do with their voice, the same way a legend like Andre 3000 did before him. It was a vocal performance that went beyond rapping. It became a whole orchestra of sound coming out of one dude's mouth. And for Isaiah, standing at the crossroads of singing and rapping, he didn't choose one or the other. He took on both of those elements, the undeniable bounce and bass of Kodak's production and the versatile, instrument-like vocal performance of Kendrick. It's the perfect blend. The beat to make you nod your head and the voice to make you feel something deep in your gut. That's where the power comes from. He's giving you the groove and the genius all at once, and it feels effortless because he studied the masters in the streets and in the studio. But there's a secret weapon that rap holds, a thing that R&B struggles with, and it's the ability to just tell a story in its complete fullness, every single detail laid bare. It's harder for R&B to really get the whole narrative across, Isaiah explains, because when you're singing, you gotta slow down. You gotta allow space, allow the music to breathe, let the chord changes sink in. That means you're cutting out details, painting with broad strokes. Rappers, though, they get a chance to give you every single detail, every single part of a story they've been through, every betrayal, every triumph, every lesson learned the hard way. You can hear it crystal clear. You hear it in Nipsey Hussle's dedication to the marathon, every step documented. You hear it in the West Coast narrative of YG, the reality unfiltered. You hear it in Kodak's raw, unflinching personal history. And you hear it in Kendrick's cinematic, deeply layered narratives. They can give you every detail just because they're able to rap a little faster, able to cram more lived experience into a single verse. It's like the difference between a novel and a short story, and Isaiah knows that if he wants his R&B to feel as real as the streets he came from, he has to find a way to incorporate that rapper's obsession with detail, that commitment to the whole truth, into the melodic structure. That's the constant challenge, the one that keeps him up late, trying to squeeze the entire world into a 4-minute song without sacrificing the space the music needs to be beautiful. It's a tricky balance, but mastering it is what separates the real ones from the pretenders. Now, if you're going to talk about influence, you can't just talk about the voices. You gotta talk about the architects, the ones who build the foundation, and for Isaiah, when you ask him who the producers are that catch his ear, the first name that pops out is Alchemist. The Alchemist understands samples and space so well, it's criminal. He's got this gift, this innate knowledge of how to complement a rapper with the absolute best beat, making the whole thing sound so player, so cool, without ever trying too hard. It's a mix between the laid-back flow of Currency and the futuristic, effortlessly cool sound of Pharrell. It's that kind of timeless, head-nodding production that doesn't just sit there. It breathes and moves with the story. And if it wasn't Alchemist, the only other name that comes to mind is Conductor Williams, another one who's making noise and showing that the beat can carry as much weight as the bars. This is the stuff that matters to a true student of the game. The sound design, the atmosphere. It's not just about a catchy tune. It's about creating a world you can step into, a vibe that sticks. But when you zoom out, when you talk about the greatest, the one who changed the whole game and pushed the entire culture forward, Isaiah doesn't mince words. He's going with Kanye West, plain and simple. You can't deny the work. He has given us the hits, but more than that, he has pushed the genre farther than practically any other rapper when it comes to either changing the style, changing the production, or completely bending the genre itself. He always understood how to push things to the absolute next limit, never getting comfortable, always aiming for something bigger, something no one else had dared to try. And the proof is in the pudding in the records. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, that's probably his #1 album of all time. Period. So, you have to put Ye up there for sure. It's the ultimate acknowledgement of a true visionary, someone who didn't just play the game but fundamentally changed the rules. It's the recognition that sometimes the true greatness lies in the willingness to be different, to be revolutionary, even if it comes with controversy. The music speaks for itself, and that's a power that can't be debated. And then the conversation turns to the ones who left too soon, the legends whose potential was cut tragically short, and you can hear a shift in Isaiah's voice, a tone of deep, genuine respect. He truly believes that Nipsey Hussle would have been undeniably one of the greatest artists of all time if his life hadn't been tragically cut short. Nipsey was building something special, something monumental, a legacy that would have been absolutely stupid, undeniable even to the person who didn't even know who Nip was yesterday. It was more than just the music. It was the whole movement, the ownership, the vision for his community, the relentless dedication to the marathon, not the sprint. Isaiah saw a path for Nipsey that was truly worldwide, a figure who would have transcended the rap game and become a global icon, a legend in the mold of the true greats. If, unfortunately, whatever happened didn't happen, if that promise wasn't violently stolen, Isaiah believes Nip would have been one of the greatest of all time, full stop. It's a heavy thought, a reminder of the fragility of life and the immense potential that was lost, but it also speaks to the enduring power of Nipsey's message and his influence on the generation that followed him, including Isaiah Falls himself, carrying a piece of that marathon spirit into his own work, running his own race on his own terms, making music that speaks to the private, complicated truth of a life lived under the spotlight and in the shadows. The interview with the singer, whose debut EP The Private Room has been setting the mood since 2023, is just one piece of the deep dive offered in the fall 2025 issue of XXL magazine. This issue is a masterclass in current culture and rap history, featuring a heavy lineup including cover story interviews with Joey Badass and J.I.D., and conversations with power players like Hit Boy, the ever-smooth Currency, the always interesting Chance the Rapper, and rising stars like Rob 49 and Ken the Man, alongside industry insights from Wallow 267, Hurricane Wisdom, Hanumankand, and Ghostface Killah. It even looks back at the changing landscape of album rollouts, highlighted by the Clips's Let God Sort M Out album, and features a chat with SiriusXM and Pandora's VP of Music Joshua J1 Rayford. But it's the straight talk from Isaiah Falls, the one who's built a sound out of Kodak's bass and Kendrick's flow, that really sticks with you, a reminder that the next great sound is always just a mix and match of the classics, spun out with a new kind of soul. The full issue, loaded with all these stories and more, is out and available for those who need to catch up on the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.